Hello friends, this is Christian here for Pathway Astrology. I'm not just gonna wait, but maybe I will, maybe I won't, but because I'm recording. But this happens to be the chart for the 1st of December 2023, which is when you look at it from Australia. This is tomorrow. So tomorrow, why is it important? And why am I doing it for tomorrow? Or I guess the question is, why do I want to look at December's astrology? Well, essentially because I wanted to show you guys what may be in store for us just prior to the new year of 2024. Okay, I've got some ideas already regarding 2024 and what the main, I hope you guys can see the chart, but as I said, I hope you guys can see it, but yeah, I've got some ideas about 2024 astrologically and what it's going to bring to us, good or bad. So just wait for that one. And I'm making this video essentially to promote my astrological readings here on TikTok, since it's so very, very difficult for me in other platforms because of the restrictions that you may all know about. So to continue, so tomorrow, the 1st of the 12th, 2023, and as I said, I'm coming from Australia, from a place called Gosford. Okay, it's just a town very close to the east coast of Australia. So without further ado, there is a beautiful trine tomorrow between the moon, and if you look, see where I'm pointing the cursor, right? If you can see some movement there, hopefully you guys can. So the moon, right? The moon is trining. See the triangle is trining, is the name, to Neptune. So if you can see it here, the moon will trine Neptune. That's the symbol for Neptune, that trident thing, okay? Right, so in that, it means that tomorrow it'll be, if you happen to be Aquarius ascendant or Aquarian sun sign, okay, and this is Western astrology, so we basically doing, well, what you see in front of you right here is the Western astrological chart for the day. It's not the Hindu astrology or anything like that. This is Western astrology. For some reason, there's a lot of debates, but there's a 23-degree difference between the Western and the Eastern astrology, and that's because of I would say, because of the axis of the Earth. Okay. So besides that, there's arguments regarding accuracies and all of that. I mean, Eastern astrology is very ancient, but the Western astrology, I would say, is more up to date with the collective zeitgeist that we are experiencing at this moment in time. So just like the Bible was written for people during the time of the Bible, Western astrology is for people in modern times. Okay, and for some reason, personally, I do think it actually works quite well for prediction. And I know that there are a lot of people who are interested in what can be predicted through astrology, such as me, and other people with open minds. So, as I said, Moon in Cancer will be in the last decan of Cancer, which means the last degrees of the sign of Cancer, will be trining Neptune. and Neptune happens to be just, it's a soft trine anyway, so, but it's entering the sign, well, no, is entering the third house, okay, of communications, but still in Pisces, right? So there you can say here, and this is to do with the second house, but it's going into the third house. It came from the second house and now into the third house. This is, I'm referring to Neptune. So Moon here in the house of service, because this is context, the sixth house, which is here, even though it's Cancer, in this chart has to do with the house of service, okay? It's normally ruled by Virgo, okay, guys? So what's going on here is that there will be emotional communication, things that will impact you emotionally because of Cancer and Moon being exalted here, also has to do with family, has to do with service, as well as work, as well as health, okay? Things to do with your diet, or maybe perhaps we could be talking about illness, okay? Or how you serve other people through your work. So there is communication between the Neptune in the third house, communication, third house, but it's a bit confusing because Neptune is a very confusing energy. It's a nebulous, that means foggy, means blur, difficult to see through, confusion. So there may be some confused phone calls, some confused conversations that may lead to confusing situations between siblings, between co-workers, between brothers and sisters, and even at home, okay? So the home has a lot to do with this because we have here the Moon in Cancer. So the home, what you call your home, and the emotions connected to the home are being impacted by a confusing aspect here, symbolized by Neptune in the third house. So I would say you need to, everybody collectively, need to seek to control our emotions, not to be so reactive tomorrow, and perhaps for the rest of the month, because the Moon not only it moves so fast, but it actually symbolically, it symbolizes our collective emotions. Yeah, the emotions of your country, of the public, right? So the Moon symbolizes the public. So I'm trying to teach you here as well, if you're into trying to learn astrology. So also, let's see what else is the Moon doing. So the Moon, if you look here on the bottom left side, is squaring, obviously a square, and it's difficult, that's why it's in red, squares Venus, and Venus is up here at the top, okay? It's still in the ninth house, but it's conjuncting the top of this particular chart, which is tomorrow. Okay, so at the start of tomorrow, at around 10, I wrote here 9:54, but it could be, the energies last for the whole day anyways. So it's about progression, okay? So this has to do with work. So there will be confusing phone calls, confusing situations, confusing conversations, as I said, or confusing information, which we have to take initiative. And why do I say initiative? The North Node, which presents you with what you must do, is in the third house, and it's this symbol here, okay? And it's in Aries. So that's initiative, self-propulsion kind of thing. So doing things yourself, okay? Taking action, because Aries is about being active. Is a very fiery sign, as most people know. So this symbol here is indicating that we all must take, there is, for some reason, collectively, I guess, divine reason, the divine is asking us to start looking at how we, as people, can take the initiative in our lives. Okay? But tomorrow, this initiative has to do with communication. Not leaving things for other people to be resolved, but you have to try and make an effort to resolve confusing situations between sisters, brothers, and situations that are, I guess, somewhat domestic, but also with children, okay? So what else can we say? So that's a difficult situation because the moon is squaring Venus going up here. And so Venus represents relationships. And see how Venus is in the sign of Libra right now, yeah? So that's Libra represents relationships, unions, deals, how you deal with other people, okay? How you share your, I guess, how you come across to people, okay? And all kinds of things like planning, the law, intellectual pursuits as well as aesthetic pursuits such as decoration, things to beautify, like art and fine arts, things like that. So jewelry, okay, so but that's more like to do with Taurus. But jewelry is the sense from it. It's a sense of luxury and beauty. So anyway, so that square of the moon to Venus up here, the whole point of that confusion has to do with some kind of situation where you're dealing with someone else in a relationship. See, relationships are everywhere. The relationships are relationships with family, relationships with co-workers at work, and all that stuff, right? Relationships of how you deal with groups and bunches of people. So how you come across to others, right? So relationships are very important at this moment in time. Why? Because Venus is at the top of the chart. So tomorrow and for December, which is how we're going to start December, it's going to involve us creating more, I guess, harmony between others. Okay, so that's kind of like a big ask for some people. But that's the main reason, or the symbology here, that Venus being at the top of the chart tomorrow will require you to look at your relationships, I guess, throughout the whole month. And let's see, because that's, and then other thing, and then your preoccupations regarding, regarding the good things of life, how to make life comfortable, will move to other parts of the chart, specifically the next sign, which is Scorpio. And the next sign is more private, more personal, more intimate. So from relationships, it will move to relationships and the intimacy between that into January next year. Okay, and somewhat through, if I'm not exactly sure when Venus will be moving into Scorpio, but I'm pretty sure it'll be sometime during the month of December, late December. Don't take my word for it, but all I have to do is just look here, and maybe I just will. So pushing forward. Wow, that was quick. So two more there, and then bang. So by the 5th or most of December, our relationships issues will be that of the type where very, let's say, emotionally regarding very sensitive issues. And there's a lot of experience being given to us by the stars, because there are quite a few trines into December regarding this. But I was talking about the 1st of December, which is what I wanted to say. Okay, so there's a lot of creativity as well because of the asteroid Zeus. Zeus, like a Jupiterian Zeus, like the ruler of the gods in Greek mythology, is right there as well. So Zeus is very masculine energy regarding relationships. Perhaps there may be libido problems in relationships, if you understand what I'm saying by that, because libido is ruled by Zeus, because Zeus unapologetically was a bit of a sexual force. Had many wives, and he had issues with his first wife, Hera, so she was very jealous. But anyways, moving on, right, because that's mythology. What else can we say? There's other issues here impacting the month, okay? And let's talk about the sun. So if I move my cursor, you'll see this circle here at the bottom right, halfway, a little bit below halfway on the screen. So we go down, and there's a conjunction which some people may know about, a conjunction with Mars here in the 11th house in Sagittarius. Okay, so let's talk about that. A conjunction means that the energy is fused together and it's working together. Okay, it's not being extreme. It's not in the extreme, but then again, Mars is a bit of can be considered a bit extreme because it is forceful, right? So depending on how you look at it, Mars can be perceived as a forceful energy because it's about masculinity, it's about force, strength, right? And the sun also, it's about strength, but it's the symbol for the core of our soul. In Eastern astrology, the sun is considered malignant or negative, and also in Western astrology, Mars is also a negative planet because when you talk about health, and I'm not a doctor, but Mars can show illness and injuries in the areas of the body where it happens to be at in your natal chart, which is quite easily done if a person has an accurate date of birth, an accurate time of birth. So that's why time is very important, because it can help to make very accurate points, important aspects in the chart, can demonstrate them or elucidate them or show them clearly. So the sun in the 11th house and Mars in the 11th house in Sagittarius. So this is a very sports. You know how in sports people can get very religious about it, right? Like football players. It's about all fans, fandom. Okay, so take that, for example. Take that and put it in a context to do with clubs. So because these aspects are together, so they're working together. The energies of the sun, the masculinity, the creativity, the willpower, together with Mars here, also very masculine, very creative as well, very forceful. In the 11th house symbolizes clubs, groups of people who think alike, like your friends. That's why this house rules friends. Okay, and it also rules how you make money from your profession. Okay, because it's the second house from the 10th house, which is your profession. So the 11th house, just not to confuse you, is the money house of the 10th house, which is the profession. So how you make money from your profession is the 11th house. So here, in regards to what we're talking about with Venus, how we're going to be talking about relationships and dealing with relationships and confusing situations, as I said before, we're going to be dealing with groups of people, mostly men, or people who behaved like men, very masculine, very upfront, who may be a little bit aggressive and headstrong, very willful people, where situations need to be resolved because they are confusing. So you could be having, someone could be, collectively, we could be seeing issues with clubs and fanatics of either religion or sports causing trouble with the law, or financial trouble, or unusual trouble regarding financial matters, which perhaps there is even theft or stolen property or stolen monies, because Saturn is actually making a square aspect to the second house within this chart, right? If you can see here, you see Saturn is in the second house in Pisces, which creates a lot of confusion and having to let go of things, because Pisces is about letting go. It's about letting go of the material world. Okay, so as you can see, the Sun is squaring Saturn from the 11th house to the second house. So because this has to do with houses of finance, finance is the 8th house though. There is right now in the 8th house of this chart, there is part of fortune, which has to do with, fortune doesn't necessarily have to do with like money, right? Or property or whatever. But it also can be other things, But anyways, so the 11th house deals with groups that may be angry, maybe going through a very difficult, aggressive, where tempers are getting hot and fanatical, and there may be losses of money and property and things they own. So we may see in December, from tomorrow, issues to do with perhaps sports clubs or even religious groups where money has been stolen, or money confusing situations to do with money. Okay, and Neptune being through that doesn't help things, because Neptune is like I said at the start, is a very confusing, creates a very confusing type of situation that becomes so obtuse that it's hard to, it's like a fog. Yeah, so like I said to you guys, and also Pluto, right? Let's look at Pluto. That's a big jump, but hang on, let's go to the Mercury, which still is also in the 11th house. So communications again, right? And I do think that Mercury may be retrograde. No, it's not. Anyways, so without confusing you anymore, Mercury being in the same house, right? Then this is just symbolically speaking. It's not, I'm not saying that there is an aspect, but there is an aspect to Neptune. So Mercury, it creates an aspect to Neptune, which is also difficult. So let's look down here. We go to Mercury, go down, square, Neptune. So again, Neptune rules deals as well, because you have to communicate, and it rules communications, and it's part of it is the ruler of the third house. Okay, so by being ruler of the third house is all about communicating. It is the messenger of the gods, as it was known for. Okay, so Mercurial, the newspapers, right? So, and because it's creating a hard aspect to Neptune, it may be also expressing, because it's in that house of sports and clubs and all of that, and groups and cults and things like that, it will show that we will be hearing, okay, about those type of subjects, okay, because Neptune is in the third house, which is control, the depositor. So Mercury is the depositor right now. I meant to say Neptune is in Pisces, okay, but it's in the third house of Mercury, which is this house of communication. So a lot is going to be known, as in like information will be put out into the public that is connected with the earnings of, or the losses of earnings by clubs, houses, organizations, even hospitals, but mostly hospitals where there's a religion attached to it. So it could be like a Catholic hospital, or you name it, wherever there is religion involved in clubs. So anyways, let's move on, yeah? So that was one hard aspect as well. And even the sun is doing a square, as I said to you guys, to Saturn. So this is bad stuff going on with like the financial side of clubs that we will be hearing about tomorrow or during the month of December. Okay. So how long has it been that I've been doing this for? But if you are interested in getting a reading from me, I've been an astrologer for almost 30 years. I would say longer than that, but almost 30 years. And I've been around a long time. So without further ado, thank you for listening or getting into this live video or live prediction of astrology for December. So, like I said, without further ado, thank you so much, and see you next time.